Hey class, we are working our way through the 5 competencies of user experience design, and this week we are landing on interaction design, which is often abbreviated as IXD. So I'm going to use that abbreviation IXD quite a bit in this class, but that stands for interaction design. So what is interaction design? In part 1, let's just talk about what interaction design is. I think it's actually one of the harder competencies to kind of wrap your head around because it's not as straightforward. It's sort of this larger thing, but is revealed in a lot of details. And hopefully that statement will kind of make more sense as I talk about what interaction design is. But interaction design is really concerned with user goals and motivation and translating the user's goals, motivation, context, what it is they're trying to do into how a digital system works. And when we talk about how a digital system works, it's easy to talk about the things it shows, like what's on a screen, what order of screens you work your way through. And interaction design does deal with those decisions around what goes on a screen. What screen does someone see before they see the next screen? If they press a button, what screen does it take them to? That sort of stuff. But interaction design is really this more holistic approach to translating a user's motivation and what they're trying to do into those tinier decisions around what goes on a page, and if you click a button, where does that go? Can you undo it? That sort of stuff. So let's kind of jump into the reading this week that is really all about what interaction design is. And just to revisit that idea of planes, that idea of when we make a digital product like a website, for example, there's these different planes of thought. We have to figure out a strategy, then a scope, then a structure, then a skeleton, then a surface. Interaction design can be, I think, kind of hard to pin down and define because it lives at a lot of these levels, right? It involves strategy because it involves being aware of what the user is trying to do and the context that they're working in and what they know about the world and how that they bring that into the system that you're designing, all the way through scope, structure, and skeleton to actually making decisions around, where does a button go on a page. So it's pretty holistic in scope. And your reading this week is sort of one of the classic textbook readings on interaction design. It's been around for a long time. It's kind of like the one you always read in a class like this to learn about what interaction design is. And that textbook defines interaction design really broadly as designing interactive products to support people in their everyday and working lives. So sounds really great, TED Talk, 10,000 foot view of what interaction design is, but if we're talking about competencies and we're talking about skills, what skills do you need to do this, to design interactive products that support people? So I think it can be helpful just to kind of try to get more specific, get more tangible. What is an interaction? Let's talk about what an interaction is instead of trying to have this holistic, what is interaction design? Well, I think it can help if we just talk about what's an interaction. And really all an interaction is putting something out and getting a response. So this video is not interactive. If I ask you how your day is going, I'm putting that out, but I can't get a response from you. And where you are having the opposite experience. I'm talking at you and you can't put anything out to me. You can't put something into my video and I respond to it. So we're not interacting right now. You're watching a video of me. Now maybe you're interacting with the YouTube page that this video is on, but you're not actually interacting with me. So interaction is really at its basic definition, putting some kind of input into something and getting a response, whether you're putting it toward a person or a website or an app. It's the idea that you can put something out there and it will respond to you. So that's what an interaction is. So hovering over a button is an interaction. Pressing the button is an interaction. With the hovering, you're putting your mouse over it and it's responding to you. With pressing, you're clicking on it with the mouse and it's responding to you. Typing in text, as you're typing, the system is responding by showing you what you're typing. Giving a voice command, when you say, hey Alexa, and it wakes your Alexa up, you put something out there and the Alexa heard you and it woke up and it gave you a response. Making some kind of choice. This is often done with buttons or voice commands. Holding or moving a device in a certain way. If you turn your phone a different direction, it responds by shifting the screen and showing you a different format. It can be, I know there's apps where you might like have to shake your phone. So holding or moving a device in a certain way can be a way to have an interaction with the app or the device itself that you're currently using. So interaction just means, putting some input in and getting a response back. And so a key concern as interaction designers when we're figuring out how the digital things we make are going to accept inputs and give a response. If we're designing what inputs they accept and what responses they give in return, a key concern is optimizing those interactions so that when the user is interacting with the system, it matches what the user is doing. It matches the user's activities, their understanding of what it is that they're doing, the task that's being supported or extended. We want to try to create ways of putting input into our designs and giving a response that kind of mirror what the person is already doing and thinking, so they're not having to learn new ways of doing things. And interaction design is therefore the practice, the skill, the competency of making choices about which possible interactions we want to put into a system or a design, and then basing those off of what users already are doing and understand so that the interactions we do choose to put in are useful, usable, and enjoyable for the task at hand. So the whole system will have good design, a good user experience if we can make good choices about how the interaction is going to work for the user. And that's why interaction design starts with understanding user goals. So let's look at an example that I think will make this a little bit more clear. Let's imagine that you are on the team at YouTube, and this is, 8 years ago, and you're creating the mobile app. You're like, okay, we're making the YouTube mobile app. We don't have one yet, and we got to make one. YouTube's only been on computers, and now these iPhones exist, and we can put an app on it for YouTube. If we're designing this YouTube mobile app, we have lots of decisions we have to make about what it's going to be like. And for example, one of those specific decisions is how should a video appear on the screen in our app? And then what interaction should users have to get the video to respond to them, to play it, to get it to appear and be a video and work on their screen? So we first kind of have to figure out, how does the video appear? We need it to be on the screen, but what does it look like on the screen? There's a few different options. We could try to fit it on a screen. So this is the shape of a phone. We could try to fit a video on here, but that doesn't really work because most videos, and remember in this example, there's no YouTube mobile app yet because it's like 8 years ago. So people didn't really make videos in portrait mode, so that's not going to work super well. We could maybe just show the video as part of the screen, maybe like stick it in the corner or just stick it at the top. That could work. We could show the video full screen, so maybe when you click on a video to play it, it just automatically becomes the whole screen of the phone. And maybe we just don't show a video. Believe it or not, there are a lot of apps that if you try to use it on your phone, when you click to certain pages, it will just say, hey, this doesn't work on a phone. You need to use this app on your desktop, or you need to use it on your iPad or whatever. So that's an option for the interaction here. And there's tons of other options for interactions of showing the video on the screen that are possible that I haven't even covered. So we're on the YouTube mobile app team, and we decide, well, we're just going to try to fit the video on the screen, but we're also going to allow people to choose, have an interaction over whether they want to show the video full screen. So let's do both. Let's show it both of these ways so you can make that decision. So maybe you come up with this design and you put the video on part of the screen at the top, and then you give people an option to make it full screen. Well, now that introduces new design concerns. How does the user switch to full screen? The user has to tell the app that they want the video full screen, so they have to put something in and they have to get a response out. So now we have to design an interaction. We were designing where things go on the screen. Now we're actually designing the interaction with where those things are and how people use them. So to fit, maybe we think about this, we want to allow the user to switch to full screen. Well, what interaction should be used? And there's a few options. Again, maybe they click on a link that says view full screen and it goes to another page, or it opens another app, or it opens in the browser. Maybe they press a button and that turns the video. Maybe they rotate their phone and that turns the video. Maybe there's a voice command. Maybe you say rotate video, and the app hears that and rotates the video. And again, many other options for how this could work. But as interaction designers, our job is to figure out which of these makes the most sense. So maybe in this example, we're making the YouTube app and we decide we're going to have two different ways. We're going to let people press a button, or we're going to let them rotate the phone. And rotating the phone is a really good option because it matches the user. We are optimizing to match what they're doing. If someone is using a YouTube app, they're holding their phone like this. So it's really easy for them to just do this, right? They're already holding it in their hands. They can just turn it. That seems really easy. It's actually even easier than pressing a button. But maybe we also want to put a button because not everybody's holding it, right? Maybe someone is watching the YouTube videos in the app from a holder. They have their phone, in one of those holders in their car, and they're just sitting in the parking lot, and they can't really rotate it, or there's some reason why they can't rotate it. So rotating the phone is the optimized interaction. But as designers, let's also give people an option to press a button because, not everybody's going to be able to physically rotate it. So let's give two interaction options. And then again, that opens up tons of interaction design questions. Where does the button go? What does it look like? How does rotating it work? Like, how far does the user need to rotate it? Can they do this? Or do they have to go all the way? Do they have to go like in a full circle? Like, these are all questions we have to figure out as the interaction designers of how someone is going to interact with this video on the screen. Is there animation showing that the video changes? Like, if I rotate the video, does the video look like it's moving, or does the video just pop up on screen in a new size and shape? So this is what interaction design is all about. And so you can see, here's how it works, right? You can press the button. We have inception, video inception going here. You can press the button, or you can rotate it. So this is interaction design, coming up with how this works, making decisions around whether there's a button or whether you can rotate, and then making that decision a reality and figuring out, okay, does it animate? How far do you have to rotate? That's what interaction design is all about. So it's not just about the screen and what's on it and how you press buttons and move things, but matching that to what the user is already doing, matching it to the device that the user might be on, matching it to what is easiest and most beneficial for the user for this particular thing that they're trying to do.